The dating mistake every smart person keeps making, and we're going to dive into this conversation today. So it's often said that men are the leaders of the dating process. And I want to ask, is that true? Because it appears to me that given the dysfunctionality of the dating process these days, to give the job to a man might be the wrong person to give it to, whether you're a man or woman listening to this. So what I'm going to share today is a look at dating from a different perspective. And I want to start off by sharing a post I did today on my Facebook page and my social media page. Now, this was directed to women, but if you're a man listening to this, you might find this very interesting as well. So let me give you the title. The title is When a Woman Takes Ownership of Her Dating Life, the Right Man Will Appear. If you've ever thought he pursued me so hard and then everything changed, this post is for you. This isn't about bad men. It's about a dating strategy that quietly fails women over and over again. Most women are taught to trust male effort as a safety signal. If he leads, plans, initiates, and pursues, it must mean he's serious. So she relaxes, gives him credit early. She assumes momentum equals capacity. I want to repeat that. She assumes momentum equals capacity. That's where things go a little bit sideways. The most aligned woman I've ever dated didn't play that game. That's my beloved, by the way. I didn't fall for her because she let me lead. I fell for her because she led herself. I want to repeat that. She led herself. From the beginning, she didn't outsource her worth to my effort. She didn't silently assess my interest by my investment. She stayed present, curious, and grounded. She enjoyed the connection without attaching a story to it. I want to repeat that. She enjoyed the connection without attaching a story to it. She separated the engagement from capacity. She watched how I handled depth, how I showed up when things slowed, how I behaved when there was no reward attached. She didn't reward charm, she observed the character. And here's the part most people miss. She didn't emotionally overinvest before reality had a chance to speak. Oh, I've got to repeat that one. She didn't overly invest before reality had a chance to speak. She made an equal investment in the process. Bump, 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 bump. She made an equal investment in the process. Her heart stayed open, but not hooked. When sex entered the picture, it didn't become a finish line. It became a data point. She paid attention to what happened after. Did communication stay consistent? Did emotional presence deepen? Did actions continue to match words? And because she stayed awake, I had no room to perform. I had to be real. She asked meaningful questions early. I've got to repeat that one. She asked meaningful questions early, not interrogations, invitations about values, emotional availability, lessons learned. She wasn't trying to secure me. She was listening for the truth. And when she expressed her needs, she didn't apologize. She didn't play detached. She named her pace and standards calmly and clearly. That didn't push me away. It pulled me forward. Here's the reframe that changes everything. A woman who takes ownership of her dating life doesn't wait for a man to lead her into safety. She leads herself into truth. Ownership doesn't mean chasing. It means staying awake. She participates, she discerns, she speaks, she observes. She allows attraction without abandonment, without abandoning discernment. She makes just as much effort as the man. I've got to repeat that. She makes just as much effort as the man. And the right man doesn't appear because she waited correctly. He appears because she stood fully in her power. Oh, I've got to repeat that one. She stands fully in her power. And only alignment could meet her there. That's not control, that's self-respect. And that's what changes the entire game. Now, just so you know, this is the picture I posted along with it. It's my beloved and I at the Hollywood Bowl. couple months back. So I did this post because I was reflecting upon the beginning of our relationship, how we connected with one another, how we mutually made an investment in one another, and how she didn't give her power away. Let me repeat that. She didn't give her power away. In fact, she mutually invests in the process. I remember the first time we met for coffee at a fancy restaurant in Marina del Rey. Actually, it was breakfast. And so we met each other for a drink, and then we went on an official date the third time we got together. And it was I'm talking an official date, a fancy date, a romantic date. Was not the first time we met, not the second time we met, the third time we met. And do you know what happened on our fifth date? She took me out to a really fancy sushi place. She said, I want to treat you. She said, I appreciate your effort, Jonathan. I appreciate that you took me out. Can I show my appreciation by treating you? And I got to tell you, it was a couple $100 dinner. And I was very grateful she made the effort. You see, for a woman to mutually make effort in the process, it actually allows for a slowing down of the process when a woman is equally engaged in it. So I'm going to share with you 5 things to consider right now going forward that I think smart women and men will appreciate in the dating process. Because men, listen, for the woman watching this, I know you want the man to be the leader of the relationship, but you're giving the job to the wrong person. And to the guy that feels like he needs to be in control, chances are you're not going to make her happy because you want things your way and not what's best for the two of you. So here's the pattern women can't stop repeating. He pursued me hard, then everything changed, meaning the man made all the effort, he did all the pursuit. Most likely he was chasing physical intimacy. And when a man chases physical intimacy, it can feel like, oh my gosh, he's so into me. He's so wonderful. He's so kind. He's so loving and everything else. And the minute he nails you, what ends up happening? The conquest is over. See, here's the thing. You have to be careful of overinvestment in the early stages because it's oftentimes predicated on the physical need. And women keep falling for this pattern over and over. If you are watching this, I want you, if you're a woman watching this right now, say, I will never accept that again. I will never accept that again, that overinvestment. And and number 2, why trusting male effort backfires. Effort feels safe. But the momentum is not the same as emotional capacity. Let me repeat that. Momentum is not the same as emotional capacity. Look, I'm not blaming women when I say this. You've been so conditioned to have the man lead the dating process that it basically puts you up on a certain pedestal. But what happens when you involuntarily put yourself on a pedestal, you're not evaluating the man for his sincerity, his presence, his groundedness. You are swept away by the romance. This is why I continually say the problem with modern dating today is we're so hyper-focused on attraction, entertainment, romance, and physical connection. Let me repeat that. Attraction, entertainment, romance, and physical connection. I've oftentimes said romance should be reserved for people in a relationship, not as an entry point in a relationship, because it hyper focuses on artificial intimacy. Bump, 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 bump. Did you hear that? Artificial intimacy, meaning it's not real intimacy. Intimacy takes hours upon hours of deep conversations about your fears, your insecurities, your negative patterns, your limiting beliefs, your judgments around others. That's where intimacy is built. And more importantly, it's about opening up to your past. Let me repeat that. Opening up to your past. Listen, for you guys that say, look, I'm not going to share my past. Look, your past is a window into who you are. For those that avoid talking about their past, that is not emotional availability. That's not emotional maturity. That's just an avoidance wrapped up in acting cool. Oh, and if you're a man or woman listening to this, let me just say this. Anyone who talks poorly about their past relationships, and I don't listen, Look at, unless you had to call a doctor, an attorney, or a policeman. I get it. That's not who I'm talking about. And when I say an attorney, I'm not talking about a divorce attorney. That's just handling paperwork. But look, if anyone talks so negatively about their past relationships, most likely they're hung up on that person, they're wounded by that person, they're unhealed by that person, and they take no accountability for their part. At the minimum, you should take 3% accountability on your part. And by the way, as a man who was single out in the dating marketplace for a very long time, I've witnessed so few women take accountability. And believe me, I've listened to woman after woman after woman talking about a man. Oh, I was with a narcissistic woman. She was an alcoholic. She was terrible with the children. And you're listening to that going, oh, well, I'm none of those things. I'll be his heroine. Oh my God, this is the dysfunctionality in our dating process. Take a deep breath, Jonathan. Number 3, the myth of letting the man lead. There's this confusion that leadership is a sign of commitment and direction. Look at the first 30 days, leadership is not a sign of commitment or direction. It's usually, how do I get in your pants from a male perspective? Now, there's the exceptions to the rule, but if you're not familiar with my chart for the 3 people actively dating, here, I'll put it up closely. There are the users, there are the spenders, and then there are the grower builders, okay? The users, spenders, and grower builders. Roughly about 20% of men and women are users, 60% are spenders, and 20% are grower builders. What are users? They're love bombers, they're players, they're entitled people, that sort of thing. The grower builders, that's the 20% of the population. They want sincere, heartfelt, emotionally mature relationships. Most everybody falls into the spender category. Do you want to know why they're called spenders? They'll spend time with you. Occasional companionship, occasional connection, occasional sex. But they lack the backbone for real commitment. And by the way, ladies, if you find yourself with a user and you're accepting of it, you have no backbone for commitment. Don't allow a man to get, get wife benefit at girlfriend prices. It's kind of like, why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free? That's the way our current dating environment is today. I'm here to encourage discernment. I'm here to encourage empowerment. And with today's post, I'm encouraging women to take ownership in the process. By the way, when I said 5 things, I should have said 6 things. This just came to me. But number 4, she leads. She is self-led in the dating process. She stays present. She asks questions. She observes behavior when things aren't aligned. And yes, the pace is a bit slower. She's watching for character. She's not focused on charm. Look, I've witnessed too many women on TikTok hyper-focus on a man must climb to the highest room of the tallest tower to prove his worth. Doing that to get laid does not prove a man's worth. And expecting a man to do that says you're not an equal participant in the process. Look, I'm here to suggest a co-creative dynamic. In fact, if you haven't read the book, well, there's 2 books to read. First off, I highly recommend reading If the Buddha Dated. If the Buddha Dated. This is a deep dive into throwing out the bullshit gender rhetoric in dating and saying, how can we co-create a relationship? Then I want you to follow. By the way, every book I recommend is listed below. Oh, please don't forget to get my book, What the Heck is Self-Love? Anyway, a journey of personal development, self-help, and spiritual work. But another book you should be reading, Spiritual Partnership by Gary Zukav. I highly recommend this book. Folks, if you really want an aligned, juicy, delicious, healthy, happy relationship, then it's time to operate completely different. We're finishing the year of 2025. It's entering into 2026. And I'm here to say you got to date a lot smarter if you want to be in a juicy, delicious, healthy, happy relationship. And let's talk about sex. Sex changes everything, but it also reveals things. Sex isn't the problem per se. Overinvestment is the problem. After intimacy, patterns become obvious. Okay, what do I mean here? Look at my beloved and I had sex not early. We invested almost 80, 90 hours of conversations with one another, both face to face on the telephone. But sex was kind of part of the decision-making process for both of us. And by the way, since it was great sex, it took us over the top. Sex is part of the process. It's a data point, as I said in my blog post. But when a man is just chasing sex, he can come on strong. What is the saying? Men are the gas, women are the brakes. Women are the gatekeepers of sex. Men are the gatekeepers of commitment. If you want significant commitment, ladies, then it is time you interrogate men. And guys better be prepared for this. If you're a man listening to this, you should welcome interrogation, because what is interrogation? It's about getting to the truth. Who are you? Do I really like you? Are we aligned with one another? That's what interrogation is all about. Yes, you can do it in an informal way. By the way, if you ever watch a detective do their work on an interrogation, it is a brilliant strategic conversation of asking questions in such a way that it opens a person up. By the way, it's a brilliant conversation. I want you to listen, do me a favor, write this down. Go to YouTube, type in murder case interrogations, detective interrogations, watch a couple videos and watch how brilliant and masterfully they're able to ask questions in a way to get to the truth. And do you know 80% or 85% of suspects confess to a crime? By the way, if you learn these techniques alone, you will be so better off in dating and relationships. Listen, I just want to follow up with the reframe changes your outcome. If you reframe the process from it's about the man, it's about a man leading the process to a co-creative process where we're both mutually engaging in one another to get to know one another. Going forward, I promise you the odds are so far in your favor when you take this approach, just like my beloved did with me. And I think if she were sitting here right now, she'd be sharing with you that it was worth every bit of that discernment on her part. And I think we're both very blessed to have a relationship that feels, as I often say, juicy, delicious, healthy, and happy. I invite that for everyone listening. In fact, I'm going to make a prayer. I invite in for everyone who's watching this a juicy, delicious, healthy, happy relationship where you have amazing chemistry with one another. And certainly, I hope it's off the charts in emotional intelligence, in intellectual connection, in spiritual connection, in protective connection, and in all those forms. And I also hope that the banter between the two of you can go for hours and hours at a time, where you genuinely like to be with each other and you're compatible with one another because you can blend lives with one another and you both share the same values or similar enough where you can navigate the differences with ease. And you, as I said before, blend lives together and you can build the deep roots of trust that lead to a fully committed relationship. That's my invitation for everyone listening to this, God, Universe, Spirit. I invite that for everyone who's watching this. Can I get an amen? All right. Dating mistakes smart people make. The smart person takes their relationship destiny in their own hands. They don't give it to someone else. And that's retaining your power. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? Please let me know. If it is, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And if you want to connect with me directly, hey, there's links below. Schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with the coach is right for you. Join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. Get all the books I recommend and make sure you get my dating vows all listed below. All right, those who know my live format know it's time for Q&A. If you have a question, there's a little chat box there. Write the word question, then post the question thereafter. Or you can purchase a super sticker, super chat. All the monies from a super sticker, super chat goes to a scholarship fund in the name of my son, Connor Aslay. That's a picture of him right there in the Obey shirt. He's my son who passed away over 7 years ago. Fuck, I can't believe it's 7 years. And as honor, we donate to causes like the Hoffman Process, Insight Institute, and scholarships to coaching as well. And our goal tonight is $50. So I'd appreciate some love for Connor Aslay. And if you want to join the Love Seat, I'm posting a link right here. You can join me live as well. I already see Chiquita just wrote a post. Don't forget to donate. All right. Question, you and your beloved, what Stranger Things on Netflix? Well, we haven't watched Stranger Things together. So if you have a more detailed question, I'll be more than happy to share particulars about her and I if you have any questions. So let's see what other things came in. Oh, have we watched Stranger Things? No, we haven't gotten into that. We love, one of the first things we watched early on was Sandman. We love that series. I mean, we probably binged watch. Oh my God. I mean, we're doing Fallout right now. We love Nobody Wants This. The Last of Us, Dark, which is on Netflix. That's kind of an interesting time travel one. But God, we've watched so many. It's almost, we're totally into Landman right now. I love Landman. So yeah, those are some of the things. Chiquita says, oh yeah, Sandman. Love that one. I loved Morpheus. So if you have a question regarding the content I talked about, do you have a question about me and my beloved? Do you have a question? Do you want to donate to the Connor Aslay Scholarship Fund? Just post it below. All right, we'll give it a minute or so. Okay, Angela has a great question. Some experts say that women shouldn't fall in love with a man with potential, but most men don't have success when you meet them. What are your thoughts on this? And Happy New Year. So I'm not a big proponent of falling in love with potential. That's not to say that you can't recognize someone's potential and look at that from if we're going to look at it from a cost benefit analysis, if someone has the capacity to generate resources. So take someone like my son. He's currently getting his doctorate in psychology. Now, today he doesn't make much money, but certainly when he becomes a doctor, he has potential. Now, I would never want a woman to fall in love with his potential, nor would I ever want a woman to only look at him and love him based on what he generates in resources. What I hope someone falls in love with my son for who he is as a person, how he shows up, grounded, sincere, kind, caring, compassionate. That's what I hope a woman falls in love with my son. That's what I hope she falls in love with. I hope to God she never falls in love with his potential. That to me is that makes that person that makes the relationship transactional, in my point. So that's how I feel about that. Again, I'm not a big proponent of falling in love with potential. I believe in falling in love with character. I did a thing about character here. What does that represent? So, I would say this is what I hope, my future daughter-in-law falls in love with. His actions match his words. There's consistency. He's generous and kind. He communicates clearly without wanting to be right. He doesn't use people. That's my belief of my son anyway. He's clear about commitment. He has his act together. He has emotional and physical self-control. He doesn't chase sex, drugs, and rock and roll. He's healed from his past. I know he's going to be working on that. He's introspective, has a self-examined life. He's protective and empathetic. That's what I hope she falls in love with, this woman, that my future daughter-in-law, if that ever happens to come to fruition, but not because he's going to become a doctor and makes money from it. Okay. All right, Angela, thank you for that question. I hope that something worth that has value for you. Okay. Chiquita says a felon has potential. Possibly they could be reformed. All right, Lisa. Question: what is the reason guys have too much drink, can't end up talking either on the first meet or the first FaceTime? Unbelievable. You know, I've had a few too many on a first date. I've been there. Sometimes it's a nervous reaction. Sometimes it's just I'm not paying attention to how much I drink. Certainly, alcohol numbs us in many cases. But here's my question: why does it matter to you? Sure, I recognize you've had that happen before, but not every man is going to show up that way. I didn't show up that way with my last 3 significant relationships. I know plenty of men that don't drink on the first date. Like my son doesn't drink, thank God. So there are plenty of. So here's my thing: is rather than focus on the guy, what matters most to you? That's my invitation for you. That's my invitation for you. But yes, we can certainly criticize that and say, next. Okay. Angela wants to come back and said, your son is wonderful. Thank you. I'm kind of partial to my son. I think most of us are. I thank his mother for doing a great job. I even thank his stepfather, who was an active participant in his life. So I'm very grateful for that. Hey, does anyone want to join the love seat? Speak to me live. I just post a link. If you'd like to have a live conversation with me, just click that link and we can get chatting and see if we can't help you with anything related to dating, mating, and relating, and taking power, taking ownership of your life, taking ownership of your dating life. Again, if you have a question, write the word question and post the question thereafter, or you can purchase a super sticker, super chat. All the money's from a super sticker, super chat goes to a scholarship fund in the name of my son, Connor Asley, who passed away. God, I still can't believe it's been 7 years, over 7.5 years now. Wait, July, August, 7.5 years. Fuck, it just seems like yesterday. Angela wants to point out, men who drink during the day are alcoholics. That's not normal. Yeah, I remember my old boss used to come home at night and make scotch this much. Now, that was after work, so I don't know if that makes him an alcoholic, but someone who drank, and then I knew a guy in my office who drank every day at lunch and at night. People that need to numb or suppress their emotions and feelings oftentimes use alcohol as a way to numb or suppress their feelings. If you have a question, write the word question and then post the question thereafter. Otherwise, we're just going to have a short conversation today. And I'd love to go for another 20 or 30 minutes. So please post a question, anything, or join the Love Life's hot seat. I should call it a love seat. All right, we're going to give it another 30 seconds. Please post something. Don't be shy. So in the meantime, I have a little bit of announcement. My beloved and I are moving in together. Yay! After the first of the year. We've effectively been together 7 months. By the time we move in together, it'll be 8 months together. Some might think that's too early, but we're both in our 60s. We're both grown-ups. We've been around the block. And we live 17 miles from one another. And because of that, we just kind of got tired of the back and forth. We found a beautiful place to live. I am so thrilled at the place we're moving into. We're apart today. And so, I was just reflecting upon, well, I'm okay when we're apart. Like, I'm not climbing the walls or anything like that. She's not climbing the walls. We don't have this grand expectation to message one another. We feel very secure in the relationship. But we felt like it's time because we want to build a life together. We've openly said we want to build a life together. I mean, short of getting married, which that's on the table. We've discussed it, but we're not in any rush to do that. We want to see how living together works out for the two of us. But I think at this stage in our lives, we both agree that we want to be in each other's lives till one of us has our last breath. We've made that, we have enough data that we feel comfortable about each other. Now, does that mean we're not going to have problems? Sure, we're going to have problems. But look, We're not going to take the easy way out. See, today, swipe dating says it's easy to exchange people. Swipe dating says it's easy to exchange people. You know what? When you find someone who genuinely brings you so much joy and happiness, then it's worth, when I say fighting for it, but making that grand effort to work through the difficult things. And we've got, by the way, we were having a total argument today, but it's because we have difference of context opinion about something. But I think, thankfully, anytime we've had some difference we had to navigate, we always operate from a place of love. She always said to me, be truthful and come from love. Be truthful, come from love. Now, what she meant truthful is she meant being sincere, being transparent, being authentic, being vulnerable, speaking your truth, and always come from love. That was her two main things she asked me from the very beginning. By the time we were physically intimate, that was what she asked me to commit to. And I've done my best to adhere to that, or lived up to that. And I want the same from her too. So write that down. Be truthful and always come from love. Now, when she said truthful, meaning if it's material to the relationship, if it's, then be transparent about it. That's what she meant by that. Melanie says, congratulations. Suzanne says, congratulations. Angela is in the house. Question, what's your favorite romantic movie? Congratulations. So, what's my favorite romantic movie? You know, I love The Notebook. I love Serendipity. I'm a junkie for that one. What else am I? Serendipity. Love Actually is kind of cute. I like Love Actually. Holiday one. God, I know there's a couple others there, but what comes to mind? Shawshank Redemption isn't a romantic movie. It happens to be one of my favorites. I currently love the TV show Nobody Wants This. Love that show. Okay. Yvonne, wait. Well, okay, so we have a question. Can you elaborate more on data collected and what that looks like? Great question. You know, my beloved always said I need more data. So what that meant was checking off the important pieces, okay? So one is getting a sense of, is this person wounded from their past? She wanted to check that box off. She wanted to get a sense of, I mean, we did this to each other, so we're both doing this. Getting a sense that they've healed from their past relationship, they're not hung up on a past relationship. Determining if they're in good, stable financial condition in their life right now, getting that data point done. Getting a data point on their belief system around politics, religion, that sort of thing. Get that data point out of the way. Get the data point out of the way around health and maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Getting the data point out of the way on spirituality and a sense of something grander than themselves. A lot of people today live in victim consciousness. They don't have a real connection to their divinity and that sort of thing. So that data point. Plus the data point of sex. I mean, we had to finally fuck. By the way, we joke when we say we don't like saying making love. We love to say fuck, but we mean making love when we say that. But we had to get that data point out of the way. So those are some of the critical data points that needed to be addressed. And the last data point is, and she always uses the phrase, and I feel exactly the same. She says, I like you like you. I like you like you. I like you like you. In other words, she likes my personality. And even though she doesn't agree with everything, she likes my personality. I love her personality. In fact, today we were debating something about emotional maturity and emotional availability. And we were at odds with each other. And in the middle of it, we're at odds with one another. I said, do you still love me? She goes, of course I love you. And I go, you're not getting mad? She goes, I live for this shit. And I said, I live for this shit. This is our catnip with one another. So those are some of the data points that got collected. Angela wants to point out Serendipity is a wonderful movie. Dating is data. Yeah, if you think about it, dating is data. Exactly. Chiquita's in the house. My male cousin was pressured into marriage by his fiance during COVID. She had a meltdown, and now she's acting like she hates being married. In your opinion, what do you think that is? Well, just my gut feeling says it's an emotionally immature person who isn't very self-regulated, that needed some sort of reassurance, hence the marriage, that there was some security in her life. And now that she's found herself in a dynamic, and she's probably instigating a lot of the challenges in the relationship, and he's probably not very emotionally mature as well, because he was accepting of this behavior. That's what I think is going on. My gut tells me it's a real lack of emotional maturity on both parts. You have emotional children in this dynamic, and emotional children could be 60 years old. So, okay. That's my gut feeling. Okay, here's a personal question. Who said I love you first in your new relationship? Well, so I think I said this. I actually said this on the phone before our second meeting. We had accumulated about 50 hours of conversation, and she said something that so struck me in my heart. Well, first off, we were dissecting the concept of romance. I think it was romance, could have been something else. We were dissecting the concept of romance, and we were debating with one another. And at one point, when I shared my argument, not arguing, my argument, she started to acquiesce to it, started to say, yeah, I see your point. We were debating masculine, feminine energy in the context of romance. And in that moment, she just literally didn't surrender to me, but she just literally said, I love the way you think, Jonathan. I love the way you think, Jonathan. I love the way you think, Jonathan. And in that moment, I said, don't take this the wrong way, but I frickin' love you. Don't take this the wrong way. I frickin' love you. And nowadays, when we text, I always text her most mornings with a love note, usually like 2 or 3 paragraphs. On our days apart, well, even on our days together, because I get up 2 hours before. Sometimes I'm just in the mood to send a little love note, meaning a text message, okay? And I just want to remind everyone, if you're loving this story, donate to the Connor Asley Scholarship Fund with that little link below. Okay, so when I said don't take this the wrong way, I freaking love you, this was before we ever had our second meeting. Now, when I said it, I didn't mean I'm in love with you. I just love who you are. I like the person who you are. I don't think we really stepped into the real definition of I love you until about a month into the relationship, give or take. You know, I mean, there was the I frickin' love you, don't take this the wrong way. But the real deep, rich I love you, which means I'm here. You matter. We are important. I've got your back. I'm not going anywhere, and I only want you. I'm here. I am present to this experience. I am present to this experience. You matter, meaning her feelings matter as much as my feelings matter. We're important. Our relationship is a separate entity, and it has value. I'm here. You matter. We're important. I've got your back. That's saying, look, if you need to go to a colonoscopy appointment, I'm there for you. If you need to be picked up at the airport, I'm there for you, although I kind of blew that one. But I took care of her recently after a surgery. I'm here. You matter. We're important. I've got your back. I'm not going anywhere. I'm fully committed to this relationship, and I only want you. I waited I think it was about a month before it was sincere from that place. It was about a month in. But I said I frickin' love you on the phone because I liked who her personality was. Angela wants to know, when are you going to make a YouTube video with your beloved? I had actually hoped on doing one this week, but that didn't work out. And we're going to be going through a move. I actually hope when I set up my new studio. So probably by February, if I'm lucky, we get one video in beforehand. Hopefully I can talk her into it in the next 2 weeks. So hopefully in the next 2 weeks, I can have her on the channel. Okay. Angela wants to point out, desperate people want a wedding as soon as possible. Good point. Chiquita's back here. You're absolutely right. His family, tried to tell him to be careful and not get pressured into marriage, but he caved. The Zoom wedding was a hot mess. Hey, this is part of his journey. Hopefully he learns a lot about himself in the process. And, you know, if he actually chooses to live a self-examined life, he'll do a better job the next time. By the way, I see a lot of people, you know what? You know what's interesting? The concept of hell is you're going to pay a price for bad behavior. You're going to pay an eternal price. But I think hell is making poor choices and dealing with it until you start to make new choices for yourself. That's just a reflection I just had. Oh, Debbie is so sweet. She just gave us a $25 super sticker. Thank you for the love. Thank you for all you do. The best New Year's to you and your beloved. Oh, Debbie, if I can reach into the camera, I'd give you a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug of appreciation. You are the best. We all love Debbie. Debbie, I wish you much success in 2026. All right. Faith, before you met your partner, were you confident that you would meet someone that it was just a matter of time? Abso-fucking-lutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. In fact, give me a second, everybody. Just wait. Everybody wait a second. I just need to walk over and grab something to read to you. This is my mantra that I wrote for myself. And let me just say, I knew this was going to happen. So to answer your question, Faith, here's what I wrote. It starts off, my intention is to recite my dating vows shortly after meeting my life partner. Our mutual, this is going to take me four and a half minutes to read. Our mutual physical attraction for one another feels stimulating and passionate, including verbally expressing this attraction towards one another and a regular practice of flirting with one another through words of affirmation and adoration, physical touch, and quality time, which feels sensational. The communication between us feels liberating, and more important, it feels respectful and balanced. We mutually feel seen, heard, and understood. We experience a deep sense of intimacy while choosing authenticity and transparency as our daily practice. As our time together grows, the energetic connection feels so aligned, and we both have a mutual sense of true chemistry, which feels calming. We consciously choose to co-create our relationship for the expansion to committed relationship that feels safe. We share a mutual sense of humor, and more importantly, we have a passion for speaking from our hearts to one another, which feels like two best friends talking with each other, and the banter can go on for hours and hours at a time, which feels liberating. Our ability to express ourselves when there are differences is rooted in mutual respect and, more importantly, grace, which feels comforting. I'm going to skip through some of this. Our lifestyles, for the most part, are similar and blend with ease. We share a mutual desire to live together, and we both agree the institution of marriage, legal or spiritual, is based on a conscious coupling and a co-creative experience. We where's the sex part? We are committed. Oh, wait, where's my sex part of this? Well, anyways. Our sexual relationship is a daily spontaneous practice with mutual passion and a high degree of mutual satisfaction, which is euphoric at a spiritual level for both of us, which feels sensational and pleasurable. We show up as sovereign beings, healing from our childhood and adult wounds from a place of individual self-love. Through our relationship and commitment to one another, we hold hands, healing those additional places of expansion that feel supportive. We do our best to show up as our best selves, choosing to explore the depths of our spiritual awakening through the gateway of long-term commitment and desiring a safe all-in relationship. Lastly, when we say I love you to each other, we mean I'm here, you matter, we're important, I've got your back, I'm not going anywhere, and I only want you. Did I know that was going to happen? You know what? I said my mantra is much deeper than that. By the way, I should read you her perfect man list one day. Ask me to do that on a future video. Because if you read it, it's like she literally described me. Ladies, women come to me all the time. Jonathan, I know what I want. I know what I want in a relationship. And you guys continually make mistakes. I got to tell you, I've witnessed this so many times. And then they go through my proprietary coaching program. And do you know what they say every single time doing this inner work? Why didn't they teach me this when I was in school? Why didn't my parents teach me this? Why didn't I learn this before I dated the wrong person? I'm here to say, if you want a life partner, then it's time to stop looking through the small lens, and you have to look at the big gigantic picture of it all. That's where my coaching come in. And if you need some support with that, check out the links below to schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. Someone says, I haven't caught a live in a million years. Welcome. Faith says, thank you for sharing that. You're very welcome. So look, it's dysfunctional out there. It's the Hunger Games out there. It's almost a fight to the death. You know what? I want you to go back. If you've gotten to this point, I want you to go back and listen to that blog post I posted on my Facebook page. Today is December 29th. You can go to Facebook and look it up. You can go to Instagram. You can go to LinkedIn. Read it. Because if you're a woman watching this, you are in charge of your relationship destiny. It starts by healing from within. It starts by getting clear about what you want. It's about setting boundaries. It's about not getting sucked in to the chemistry aspect of a relationship. It's about genuinely getting to know another person at a heart-centered level. I want to come back. Please read this book. If the Buddha Dated. Oh my God, this will change your life. As I said before, it throws out the bullshit gender rhetoric and says, how can we connect at a heart-centered level? I promise you, if you do this work, you will find yourself an amazing partner. And yeah, you're going to have to put yourself out there on a dating app. 75% of all new relationships are happening through an online connection. So whether you like it or not, hey, look, that's where my beloved and I met. That's where I went to a dozen weddings in the last few years, all people who met through a dating app. And when I say a dozen weddings, I'm talking about people over 45, 50 years old. Angela wants to point out, a beloved is another piece of your puzzle. Yeah, now I think she and I we've had serious conversations about how can we teach. So one thing that happened for us is we didn't have that immediate spark. We didn't have that off the charts. In fact, we weren't each other's type. I think so many women bypass great men. I think so many men bypass great women because there wasn't that spark. There wasn't that insecure attachment being triggered. And so in our particular case, we got to know each other without the pressure of romance. I think when you throw romance out of the equation, when a woman is mutually investing in the process, I believe there's a greater chance of success for the both of you. And it's not about slowing down the dating process. It's not about speed. It's about intentionality. Excuse me, my nose is itchy. It's about intentionality. And more importantly, it's about vulnerability, authenticity, and transparency. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? Please let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what I shared today. Do me a favor. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. And as always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And if you want to connect with me directly, hey, there's links below in the show notes. Schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. Check out my group called Midlife Love Mastery. Follow me on social media. There's my books listed there. And don't forget my dating vows. You've got to get a copy of my dating vows, all listed below. All right, I'm going to wrap up this video as I always do. First off, give myself a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug of self-love. I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love if that's okay. I'm going to ask you to turn to someone, a pet, a teddy bear, a pillow, and give it or them a hug of love, because hugs are a great source of love. And let's face it, we could all use more love in our lives. Thanks a bunch. Bye-bye, everyone. Thanks for, hey, Debbie, thanks for donating. Thanks, Angela. Thanks, Chiquita. Thanks, everyone who commented. Big hugs to you. Wishing you a super duper wonderful evening. Be well. Thanks. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.